Welcome back. As we prepare for the upcoming winter storm, it's important to remember the effects that the cold can have on our bodies, and we need to learn how we can keep ourselves safe. So today we have Wish TV medical expert Dr. Janelle Gordon joining us for a very special edition of our weekend morning checkup. Thank you for joining us. First, let's talk about some of the most common health issues that are caused by cold weather.
Sure. So when the temperature gets as cold as it is right now across the United States and definitely here in central Indiana, some of the common conditions that we'll see is frostbite, hypothermia, which actually can occur when the outside temperatures are between just 30 to 50 degrees. People often think it has to dip down to the negative temperatures, but not necessarily. And our core body temperature will actually dip below 95 degrees Fahrenheit.
What's the difference between hypothermia and frostbite?
Sure. So when we talk about frostbite, oftentimes people will think about being outside when they were younger and their fingers getting cold, or our wonderful workers who are helping keep our streets clear and our public areas safe. They often are familiar with getting like a finger that might get really cold and then numb and maybe even harden. So that's a typical sign. And the fingers are not the only area of the body that can be affected. Other areas with sometimes limited circulation include the nose, the ears, and even our toes. Hypothermia, again, is when our core body temperature is going to drop below 95 degrees. So that's our entire body that can be affected.
And so what are the signs that we should be looking for? Our fingertips and what else?
Sure. So for frostbite, initially you may notice that your fingers might start to get red, or even the toes. You might have pain initially, but then that will progress on to numbness and even paleness of the skin.
Okay. And when we face circumstances like this, what do we need to do?
Sure. So if you are concerned about an area being frostbite, you want to immediately go inside to warmer areas if possible. Remove any wet clothing from the area and try to warm it. I don't want you using hot packs or running that area under warm water. Try to hold it close to a warmer part of the skin to help rewarm and improve circulation to that area.
What other ways does the weather impact us, the cold weather?
Sure. So back to hypothermia, if you notice or you feel like someone around you has some signs concerning for hypothermia, so you may notice that they're having decreased concentration, maybe some memory difficulty, their heart rate and breathing may start to slow, and they may start to feel very cold themselves and appear cold, then these are all signs that you need to get them rewarmed as well. So if you can get them inside, get all the wet clothing off of them, and then use warm clothing to rewarm them. If they're alert, you can also give them warm sweetened beverages. Please avoid alcohol and caffeinated beverages because these can cause the body to vasodilate, and that will cause heat to go away from the body. So if you can get that entire body covered, leaving the face exposed so that the person can breathe, that will be ideal. And then call 911 for additional steps.
I know some people believe that maybe you can have a warm, hot drink or maybe even alcohol to help. Is that true?
No alcohol, people. Dry January, now's the best time to start that.
Right.
with the weather as bad as it's going to be.
Okay. What about circulation? Should you be concerned about poor circulation at this time?
Yeah, so especially for our workers who are out in this temperature, if you're going to be seated or standing for long, moving. So we talk about finger wiggles or arm circles. We talk about doing leg lifts, even if you're in a chair or standing, and then ankle circles like we used to do back in the day if you were an athlete, student athlete. So whatever you can do to keep moving and keep circulation to those areas that often will have the limited circulation. So again, the parts of our body that are distal from the core. So hands, fingers, feet, toes. I do want to say, if you are concerned about frostbite on the toes or the feet, if possible, try not to walk on them until rewarming has started.
All right. Is there any other information that you want to pass along to viewers very quickly?
Stay inside if you can.
Okay.
If you must go out, again, check my article later today on wishtv.com for these steps and additional information. And just be sure that you're paying attention to the Wish TV storm trackers, meteorologists, and then if you're not in Indiana, your local health and safety professionals advisories.
All right. Great information. Dr.
Thank
Janelle
you.
Gordon, thank you so much for joining us
safe.
on this Saturday morning edition. And now let's send things over to meteorologist Ryan Lords, who has a better idea of what we'll expect.
And new this morning, we have now winter storm